Thank you all for coming to the second of the February 2026 lectures. Today we have Dr. Judson LeCompte from Proven Winners, Spring Meadows Nursery. Judson's in charge of running around the country looking for cool and unique plants. He also goes around and looks for seeds and sports to propagate and test for introduction from uh, proven winners. He's a resident in, he grew up in Alabama and went to um, Auburn University and earned his PhD. Uh, so, uh, Welcome, Judson. Looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me. Today, I'm going to give you a brief introduction about what I do, our trialing process, and then I'm going to introduce you to some newer evergreens and basically all of our evergreens are conifers. So, first up, we are based in Grand Haven, Michigan. As Jeff said, I am an Alabama boy, so it has taken a little bit of adjustment. Just for reference, Chicago's down here, so we're about 3 hours north of Chicago, and we're based right a few miles from Lake Michigan. The Dutch settled here because of its great horticulture production area, just like the Netherlands. And so we're very highly influenced by Dutch horticulture. We've been ranked the best beaches in the country multiple times. Grand Haven's a very busy place in the summer, and I enjoy the summer. The spring and fall are gorgeous, but in the winter we get a lot of snow. This year we've gotten over 100 inches already, or this season. We're unique in a nursery in that we grow no finished product. Everything that we grow is a liner or a baby plant that then gets sold to our licensees and our customers around the world. You may have received one of our catalogs. This gives you a little bit of history back from 2011 and then our most recent catalog that came out last year. You can sign up on our website, springmeadownursery.com, and you can receive a catalog too. It's got a lot of great information in there. So our company is relatively young in horticulture world. It was started by Dale and Liz Deppy in 1981. And it was because Dale got fired from his job at Zelenka Nursery, which was the largest nursery in the country at the time. And him and his dad built the first hoop houses by hand, bent the poles themselves over an old wheel, and really created and laid a great groundwork for us. 1986, hired our first employee. The first catalog came out in 1988. It was very basic, we'll say that. And then 1995, my former boss, Tim Wood, was hired. And then we introduced color choice in 1999. We introduced color choice because we were not able to get genetics from around the world, because when a breeder would come from Europe, they wanted to work with the largest nursery. They wanted to work with Monrovia or Heinz. They didn't want to work with a little guy like Spring Meadow in Michigan. So we started a brand with unique genetics that were open to everybody. We didn't want to limit supply. We wanted to build demand. And so that was the start of Color Choice. And then in 2004, we joined Proven Winners. The annual companies were beginning Proven Winners, and we were worried that Color Choice, just as a shrub brand, was not going to have enough traction. So we joined with Proven Winners, and it has been a great success ever since. This is our nursery in 2007. I don't know if you can see my pointer. Oh, let's go back. This were the original hoop houses, and up top you can see Dale's original house, Dale and Liz's house. And you can notice that we're swapping over from hoop top houses to open air greenhouses, very Dutch style. And Fortunately, in Michigan, we don't get too hot. And so on warm days, we can just open our roofs and the heat escapes. This is a picture from a few years ago now, and it has expanded even more since then. We've got to get the drone up to get a better shot. But I started in 2020, and we've doubled in size since I've been here. Everything is a connected greenhouse. Right now, everything, a few ranges have been turned on for heat, but for the most part, everything's about 35 degrees in there. We also have research fields across the street that we use for seedling evaluation and then selection evaluation. We realized that we had to be on the forefront of technology, so we got our first sorting machine in 2007. It is still in operation today. We are getting a new one that we're very excited about. So the way this works, we put our tray in on that conveyor belt. Right there, you can see them loaded on. It goes into a robot that picks up each plug and puts them in a little cup, and then it puts it through a photo booth and it takes a picture of how big the plant is. And if it needs more time to grow, it gets sorted into a different group, or if it's dead, it gets sorted into a different group. And so this saves us a lot of labor and makes it very much more objective. So we can ensure that our crops are uniform when they go to our customers. When we originally started, we had our workers trimming our liners with hedge trimmers, really large hedge trimmers, because we wanted a really well-branched liner. And so we went to a local manufacturer and said, we would like to create this. And so with their help, we created this trimming machine that rides down our rails in the greenhouse, and we can shift it to different bays. It has a conveyor belt that runs down the backside, so all the cuttings get distributed on the aisle, and our workers can quickly pick it up and dispose of it. These are our first 4 sticking machines. We now have started a second line. These we use for a lot of our cuttings. I think it's about 50%. There's some cuttings that just do not do well with the robotic sticking machines, things like roses, barberry. But these can run 24/7 if we'd like. They just run during normal working hours. They don't need breaks, but they're not as fast as people. So we still have a lot of hand lines. And then in 2017, one of our growers wanted to get involved in IPM, integrated pest management. So this is using beneficial insects throughout our greenhouse ranges. So our ownership said, sure, go ahead, try it, prove that it makes sense, prove that it saves us money. And in fact, it didn't save us any money, but it didn't cost us any more either. So we started integrating IPM in 2017, and now we rear a lot of our own beneficial insects. So where do our plants come from? My job is a product development manager. I am basically a talent scout for breeders and people that find new plants. So I get to travel the world. Already this year, I've been in Germany and the Netherlands. I'll go to Serbia, back to Europe, Japan, China. So we're all over the place. And we've made really great friends at all those locations. And for me, it's more about the people than the plants. I'm definitely a plant nerd, but I love the people. Oh. So this is our R&D facility. It's actually expanded a little bit bigger than that. So this is a secure facility under camera and alarms, and it's about 10 acres under greenhouse. Inside, we also have quarantine facilities so that we can import from around the world. And then we have different houses that we can control the heat and temperature or humidity in. So if we wanted to have a zone 8 house, I can create a zone 8 house. And then you can see the Quonset hoop houses there. Those are our stock houses. Those are currently getting replaced to more modern open roof houses. So we offer plant protection for all of our breeders. We do most of it in-house. We're really good at it. We can do it a lot more affordable than most people. But our plant patent and other protection is what allows us to make money for our breeders. This prevents other people from selling their plant or devaluing it by illegally propagating it. But again, the goal is not to decrease demand, is to increase demand. Currently work with over 50 active external breeders, all the major university breeding programs. We do sponsor some university breeders. University breeding is on the decline, lack of state funding, and it's hard to quantify breeding to administrators. So, but we do have some very active and amazing breeders at the universities. This is number one. This is Dr. Tom Rainey from North Carolina State. Not only is he an incredible breeder, but he produces incredible breeders. He has a heart of gold. If you ever get the chance to meet him or hear him speak, I highly recommend it. You'll come out a better person. This is the wonderful Chris Werner from Werner Roses in the UK. So when I'm looking for a breeder, I look for a breeder that's breeding in an environment where the plant normally should not do well. So Chris breeds in a humid, cool United Kingdom. And so his plants are wildly disease resistant. So he started as a hobbyist breeder and has produced a lot of our Oh So Easy roses. And before I joined Spring Meadow, I worked for a nursery in Texas, also doing product development. And I'd evaluated the Proven Winners Loropetalum, and I loved them. They were great. And so I wanted them for my line. And so I stalked the breeder, had friends from Japan go and visit him. And every time he said, no, 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 I only work with Proven Winners. And so it was nice to go visit Mr. Suzuki and be able to collect from his garden and pick out selections. He's an amazing collector, just a really, really great guy from Japan. So I joined the team in 2020, and our head breeder, Megan Matai, joined in 2013. So together we run our evaluation program. Megan's definitely the organized one that likes to finish things, and I like to start things. So we make a great team. So we have an internal plant breeding team. It started with Tim Wood. You can see him there. And then Megan took over. The goal was to create enough new introductions to fund a breeder. I think it was Mike Durr told Tim and Dale that, hey, you know, you've got these amazing collections. You should just start collecting seed off of them. And so that's one of the philosophies that we've taken in plant breeding is that open pollinated plants are okay. There's a lot of diversity that comes from it. We have field space that we can evaluate it and take the time that it needs to evaluate it. But there's a lot of fun things that you can collect seed off of a hotel landscape and bring it home, and you'd be surprised what comes up. So we have 27 years of in-house plant breeding, as I said, started by Tim Wood in 1995. And then just recently, we hired Davis Harmon from North Carolina State. He was an intern with Dr. Tom Rainey. And so again, an amazing breeder coming out of that program. Every year we pot up over 70,000 seedlings. We have coolers, one that's cold and one that's hot, so we can break double dormancy that a lot of seeds have. And so right now, this house is completely full. It looks just like this, and we're getting warm temperatures, so I'm getting excited to go start looking at the seedlings coming up because you can start to see the diversity right at the beginning. We do have a small tissue culture lab and one tissue culture manager. So this is mostly used for mutation breeding, ploidy manipulation, and then we do a lot of embryo rescue with wide hybrids that normally wouldn't germinate. We can germinate them in vitro. And then we do a lot of export with tissue culture. Different countries have different restrictions. Australia is the worst. Everything's invasive in Australia. And so they really want to make sure that the plants are safe when they get there. So we're able to do that with the tissue culture lab. So this is a little bit of our trialing process. So the plant's either selected by me from a breeder or from our breeding team, and we kind of compete against each other. I want my external breeders plants to win, and Megan wants her internally bred plants to win, but our motto is the best plant wins no matter who it comes from. So we select the plant, it gets assigned a name and a number, and we like to do goofy names. So it may be cities in Alabama, it may be Pokemon. So it's a lot easier to say, hey, do you know Opelika instead of do you know 14-02-1? So then we propagate a trial of 38 for a container trial in our greenhouse. And after that first year's trial, the rest go into our trial field and then our trial gardens. So we get 5 planted in the Zone 5 field and then 3 planted into the garden. And we collect a lot of data throughout the year. And then we sit down and make decisions basically every week in the growing season. We walk and look at whatever is looking good at the time. And then over winter, we have a few more meetings to really hammer down that year's next introductions. And we get ready by patenting and getting our marketing together for it to be introduced in the catalog in July. So the catalog comes out in July and first plants ship the next January. This is one of the tips and tricks that we've learned. We love using punch tags. So we use this for flower data as well. We just put 1 through 52 on the tag, and we have a worker, one of our team members, goes around and punches that week if half the crop is in flower. And in the winter, when it's snowy outside, our growers put in all that data, and so we have that data readily available for us. This is from our selection fields. You can see this was a syringa that Megan had selected. Oh, I guess I was part of it too. So each tag has a number, and then we can take a picture with the plant, with the tag, what we're liking. Is it flower color? Is it habit? Who selected it? And when did we select it? This is our new product development team. So we've got me, and then from left to right, we've got Leticia. She came to us from the University of Nebraska. Ginger has been with us since 2017, and Tori comes to us from New York. So a lot of different expertise, and we make an awesome team. From average cross in our breeding program, is usually to introduction 6 to 8 years, and it's about that for a plant brought to us from an external breeder. And this is for a lot of different factors. It's building up stock. We want to make sure that when we release a plant, we have plenty of stock so that when our growers want it, we have it. That's the biggest factor. Certainly with conifers too, because they're slower. I told you about selection, but we also do a lot of roguing. So in our fields, we plant very close together. And so we walk the fields, we make an orange dot next to the ugly plant. And then we have a crew that comes through and just rips out the ugly plants. And so that makes it easier for us to then find good looking plants and select them. But a lot of it is about being observant. We were collecting seed at Hidden Lake Gardens, and I saw this sport. And one thing I want to make sure I make very clear, do not cut the entire sport off because sometimes they don't root. And this one didn't root, so I've got to go back and get it. But always have an eye looking for something different. And we've got some really great breeders, I guess, finders that have that eye. This is one that was found in a weigilla, so you can see a variegated sport mutation, and we released it as Weigilla Vino Verde. So what are we looking for in a shrub or a tree? We want consumer success, interesting foliage, because everybody wants flowers, but foliage gives us a lot more to work with in the landscape. Seasons of color, we like color changing if we can get it. New or unique use, so is that dwarf or compact growth, more fastigiate. We want long blooming or reblooming if it's a flowering plant. Good disease resistance, lower maintenance, and that ultimately adds up to eco-friendly. But the biggest thing is we want it to jump out and grab the customer in the garden center. So this is the inside of our R&D greenhouse. We have over 194 different genera under evaluation. I think this year we're going to look at 2,700 unique selections from all over the world. If it's a woody plant, we're looking at it. So we want to, who knows what the next big plant is going to be. These are container trials with comparisons. We buy all of our competitors' plants so that we can have them growing beside ours to prove that ours are actually better. We have our field trials. This is Let's Dance Skyview. It's the most cold hardy hydrangea macrophylla we've ever trialed, or I've ever seen. If you look in the field, there's comparison plants out there, even our internal breeding plants, and you can tell that Skyview was much better than the rest. It's another view. This is our paniculata field. But you can tell here the diversity that we get out of just a few seed lots. We do have external field trials. Obviously, Michigan's not the best place to trial for warm weather climates. So we do have a site in Homestead, Florida. We have one on Mississippi coast, and then one in Austin, Texas. So we get a dry heat also. So we run any of our plants that we think should do well down there. We trial, and sometimes we send things that surprise us. So it's a really great opportunity to trial. This is the Florida trial site. It's our harshest. So very sandy. And we have, if you see the storks flying down, they're beautiful to look at, but they love pulling up our plants and pulling up the emitters. So they come visit us in the summer, and then in the winter, they go down there and wreak havoc. So sometimes they're a bit of a problem. We have a gorgeous 14-acre display garden where every plant that we've ever released has at least at one point resided, and every plant we've trialed goes out here. So this also allows us to get marketing shots and to bring visitors through to see new plants. But it's also a place for us to group together large trials like we did with the Spirea trial, and you can see the diversity in there, and you can really compare close together different Spireas all at the same time. This is the newest garden. I call it the zigzag garden, but just Dale manages this garden, and we actually get in trouble if we do not go walk the garden once a week. And it's a little, you feel bad because you feel like I should be in the office working on something, but no, we need to be out there looking at plants. So it's a good problem to have. And then we bring a lot of growers through to get their feedback. So growers, retailers, even consumers, we have large events, probably over 1,000 people throughout the year that come through. They get to see the newest, what's coming, and we give them flags. And we say, just flag whatever you like, if it's our competitors, if it's ours. And then we have an intern come through and collect and count all the flags. And we have that data as we're going around and evaluating. And then it's nice to go back to the growers and be like, look, you picked this one. You wanted it. So now I'm going to give you a little bit of the journey from selection to introduction on some of our one, at least of our conifers. So this is Cedar Rapids Chamaecyparis. This comes to us from Dr. John Reuter at the University of Georgia. John's a great guy if you've never had the opportunity to meet him. And I get to go walk once a year or so and select from all of his fields, which is fun. He does a great job breeding heat-tolerant conifers. And so this was the first day that I saw Cedar Rapids in Georgia. And then we bring it back to Michigan. It gets trialed in a container trial. This was the first year, so we were propagating up to our full trial number. And then as we're progressing, we're sending it out to our trial sites. So again, this is a yellowish, greenish new growth on this Chamaecyparis. And so we were worried about it burning in Florida, handled it like a champ, no problem. And then here, even in Michigan, in summer, the growth goes a darker green, but again, it's that color change that we really like. So this is now Cedar Rapids Chamaecyparis piscifera. And so now that plant it should be hitting retail now. You should be finding this in retail. It was released a few years ago. All right, I'm going to go through pretty much our conifer catalog and tell you a little bit of history from each one that I know. And then I've got a special surprise video for you at the end. So this is soft serve Chamaecyparis. This one I like to point out because when you're breeding trees, it is difficult to know the ultimate size. And a lot of consumers get upset when certainly a plant from Michigan goes to Georgia, it's going to be bigger. And so we give our best guess because we honestly do not know what it'll do in 30 years. And if we waited for 30 years to find out, we would miss out on a lot of great plants. So this is one that we originally had soft serve maxing out at 10 feet. I think it's still on this slide, but now we've changed that in our materials to where it's 18 to 20, I believe. So yeah, soft serve Chamaecyparis spicifera, yeah, 10 feet tall. And that was the hope, but it did get a little bit bigger. Again, be on the hunt for sports. So this was a crop of gold mop. And through that, our stock manager noticed some differences in the plants and pulled out this sport. So he cut all the green or the normal gold mop off to this greeny chartreuse. And then this on the left is the sport, and on the right is gold mop. So you can see it was a lot more vigorous. We like that. Color was better. And it got released as soft serve gold. Again, this one's going to be larger than we'd originally anticipated at 10 feet. We've got it now at 18 to 20, but very, very burn resistant and has a natural stacking pyramidal habit and also deer resistant. Another sport, this one comes to us from one of my favorite breeders in New York. Her name is Rika. And Rika drives around New York City and looks at evergreens and finds sports. And she's got the best eye. She'll send me 20 a year. It's pretty wild. So this is Gin Fizz juniper. What we love about Gin Fizz is the cone production on it. A lot of times producers don't like the cone production because it slows down the plant a little bit. But as this one comes into fruit, it is really a massive impact, and it's still a fast growing plant. See that really nice blue cones on there. This is Gin Fizz, Juniperus chinensis, again, deer resistant. This has become the biggest request from our consumers to help them be knowledgeable about what's deer resistant and produce more things that are deer resistant. Got another juniper. This is Montana moss. Cute little blue. I am of the belief that ground cover junipers are going to be coming back into popularity. So I'm looking everywhere for them as quick as I can. But this is Montana moss. It's been very great for us. Tortuga. So this one I have some trial photos. You can see this was its first year in the field, more refined growth. We were looking for something more ground cover. Whoop. And then you can see as it came in spring, gorgeous green. And in the landscape, beautiful. And Tim came up with the name Tortuga. I think it's a perfect name for this. Our goal when we're naming plants is to not name them plant names. We want them to be recognizable for themselves. So Tortuga, I think, is a unique, good name for turtle. So it's this is Celtic Pride. This came to us from one of our great licensees, Pride's Corner Nursery. So we gave them a little nod with Celtic Pride in the name. Great little microbiota. Beautiful blue foliage in season. Makes a great, great ground cover. Our Taxus series has actually seen a revitalization. I was just visiting a nursery on Long Island, I guess it was around 2022, and they said that their Taxus production had doubled. And I was kind of shocked by that because Taxus is slow growing. And they said they like to use it in the cemeteries in New York City. And because of the pandemic, they were using it to line the cemetery. So a little macabre, but a growing demand for taxus again. So we have Stonehenge, very nice upright fastigiate habit. So going to get 10 feet further south that you go. And my favorite, Stonehenge skinny. Really nice fastigiate columnar growth, really tight. Again, going to get 10 feet tall further south. And then this is Dark Druid compact. You see it in the field performing very well. No pruning on this at all. This is all natural habit. Really, really dark foliage in the winter too, which adds a lot to the landscape. And the new growth, Kelly Green, nice and fresh in spring. So that was Stonehenge Dark Druid, our most compact in the Stonehenge series. And we do name with series because we want a consumer, when they get a plant from one of our series and they have success, they want to reassociate it back with that series. Anna's Magic Ball, a great little mounding thuya, and native. I believe this was a Rika plant as well that she found as a sport. And again, a big push for native plants as well. And we do our best to deliver. This is my favorite. It's not the hugest seller, but I think it's so dang cute. This is Cheer Drops. I love this hedge. It's the fattest little thuya. And if you don't want a very tall hedge, but you still want a substantial one, Cheer Drops is your plant. You just want to go and hug it. So again, this is a Thuya occidentalis, so native, and very cold hardy. This plant has had an interesting life. So this is Full Speed Ahead, American Pillar. This came to us from Atlanta area. It's found by a husband and wife in a sport as a sport, and they sent it to us, and it grows super super fast. And this is a hedge of it behind the pool of one of our colleagues' houses. And then this is it in the display garden. It grows 2 feet, 2.5 feet a year here in Michigan. Full Speed Ahead American Pillar, again, one of our best selling plants just because it is so fast growing and doesn't take up a lot of space. And if you need something skinnier, we've got Full Speed Ahead Thin Man. So same idea, but even skinnier habit, a little different habit with the foliage arrangement too. Really, really tight occidentalis. Okay, North Pole. One of my favorites because of its heat tolerance. So North Pole, I grew in Texas, loved it, grew very, very well, grew full. This is an improvement on Smrog or Emerald Green. Likes to keep a central leader. And y'all, this is in Homestead, Florida, zone 10. So we are able to really push Thuya further than we ever have. We're looking for plants that are resilient. It's not just about being cold tolerant or heat tolerant. Certainly in the South, you Southerners know just as well as I do, it's about going from 80 degrees to 4. So plants have to be able to withstand that. And luckily, a lot of our conifers are tough enough that they can. This is North Pole in the landscape. The original breeder recently passed away, Art Bow from Minneapolis. It's North Pole Thuya occidentalis. Got the Polar Gold series. This was a Rika find. And Sting. So Sting is, in fact, our skinniest. Doesn't make a great hedge. There's the original plant just because it is so skinny, but it gives really great structure in the garden. See it right there in the middle. That's the original. So Sting, this is our narrowest Thuya of the series. One of our newest, and this is another plant from Dr. John Reuter. We wanted a whipcord-like plant, but we wanted it in occidentalis, and John delivered. So instead of placata, I believe placata whipcord, this one is occidentalis. Again, bred in Georgia, so it can handle the heat, handles zone 5 Michigan without batting an eye, doesn't do the big long shoots that come out the top. So again, another great texture in the landscape. Whoa. Let's see if we can get back in. Oh, well, that went away. All right, so this is Whip It Good, the occidentalis. This is, if it's not number 1, it's number 2 in sales. This is Tater Tot.
Sorry, Judson, you're not sharing the screen at the moment.
Oh, hold on. Thanks for stopping me. Now, all right, this is Tater Tot. Again, this is a plant that doesn't require any pruning, really great tight mounded habit. Has been super successful for us. Again, we like plants when a focal plant, people buy 1. This, people buy 50. And so we really like those plants. That's attributed a lot to its success. But it makes a great little hedge on the edge of the garden. And Fluffy. Now we're into Placata. So Fluffy, better suited for the north, and this one will not go into zone 9. It will bleach down there. But again, another native evergreen with unique texture. It's a very flowy texture. And then Jeff called this plant out when he was promoting it. This is Spring Grove. This comes to us from Spring Grove Cemetery. Great partnership with them. So this was brought to us as a sport. And just really fabulous habit, a larger plant, but great in the landscape. I mean, keeps its central leader every time. It's a very stately tree, so we're very happy to have it. Okay, so we have a quick little video here of a former American Conifer Society member that I had the pleasure to meet. So with that, I'm going to start this and shut up.
Everyone, I want you to know how excited I am to be here. We are at Miss Eleanor Fry's house on Lookout Mountain, Tennessee. Miss Eleanor has been a conifer collector for years. They moved into this house in the early 60s, and they constructed it, her and her husband, Gus. And she is one of the most amazing people that I've ever had the opportunity to meet. And so I can't wait to introduce you to her and her magnificent garden. Come join us. So when did you get into gardening?
Well, I had always been into it at home with my mother because I helped her in the yard, not as much as I should have, a great deal, but yeah, I helped some. And well, I remember when I did it when I was so young that I would be pulling up the azurella, and I knew because of the height and the flower, you know, and she'd let me pull up those. Get rid of them and things like that. But she did most of it. I just did the scut work. She gave me a little place about a yard square, and she said, now this is yours and you can do anything you want to. It's just anything you want to do it. And I had a good time with that little place.
What'd you put in it?
Well, the first thing I tried to put was a little koi pond. And I never did get one that didn't leak.
Yeah.
Because she didn't offer me any dishes to put, bowls to put in there with it. And then there was, behind Lily's rose garden, you could see through the neighbor next door. And God help me, I went in there and stole one of the neighbor's plants. It's the only thing I have ever stolen in my whole life. I'll never forget it. As long as I never. And as I have looked back through the years, I think that it was a little yellowish, no colorish, what, Diane?
The olives,
What?
the sedums.
Sedum.
Yes,
It was a little, it had to be a little bitty sedum. And I stole that thing and I couldn't sleep. It was terrible. I felt so awful. And I guess I was afraid I was going to get caught. That probably was the main thing. And so I dug it up and buried it right there where it had been planted. And do you know, it wouldn't die. It kept coming up and coming up. It would not quit.
So how did you go from sedums to conifers?
I never heard the word conifer.
You had lilies first, right?
Oh yeah, well I was so worn out because I had about killed myself with daylilies. See, I would save the seed in the summer and fall from the daylilies and then plant them all winter and grow them. And I'd stay down there till midnight and later, you know, sometimes fooling with those plants. And I was finally exhausted with the whole thing. And I saw conifers and they were fine and they looked easy.
Now, I want to ask you about World War II, and you don't have to tell me anything about it. You've never talked to me about it. But can you tell me a little bit about that and your role with that?
Oh, well, you just had to be just like the men who go to Annapolis. You had to be at around a certain height. You had to have so many teeth. You had to have letters of recommendation, and you had to have graduated, have to have a degree. And at that time, I think only about 5%, I think this is in the article, about 5% of the people, women in the country of the right age had a college degree. It was rare back in 42. And so it was hard to get in. It was kind of like getting in a finishing school, they used to call certain schools. But anyway, you want to know what I did?
Yeah, so
I did what they told me to.
Well, so what did you enlist as? What was your title? What were you?
A midshipman.
Midshipman.
Yeah. And then when you finish being your training and you pass it or you fail it, then you become an ensign, which is a little hat to strike.
Yeah.
And then when it was all over, I was a lieutenant, which is the same as a captain in the Army. Because if you did your work and did it right and everything, then you got promotions along. So, and it was wonderful. It was a time that there's no way to describe it. Everybody was afraid. I don't know whether anybody ever said they were afraid, but there was not only the war and all the people dying, but there was the atom bomb that came along that everybody was terrified of. Digging holes in their backyard and, to hide in. And it was a terrible time. And everybody was in love. Everybody was in love with somebody. I mean, men and women who were married. I don't guess I've ever said that, Deline, to you. But it was, I never said that to Rona, but it was. Everybody was in love, and I guess everybody was afraid, and that helped.
Yeah.
Did that make any sense? Whoever was there.
You were a remarkable person. All right, Miss Eleanor, so if there's a lot of young people getting into gardening now.
Really good.
Yes, ma'am. We're very excited. What are some good pieces of advice that you would give a young gardener?
Start them off with plants that are
Easier.
easier.
So that would be right. So start out with an easier plant.
Mm-hmm.
Know that there's going to be some death
Right.
because it's a living thing.
Mm-hmm. Read the instructions.
Read the instruction. Do your research.
Right.
Like your tag isn't just going to solve everything for you. You need to do your research on the
And
plant.
I think if anybody is inclined at all, that it would be very good to read some history. Read about John Bartram. Make it fascinating and interesting. And the more you know about something, of course you know that better than anybody, the more you know about something, the better you like it, or on the other hand, discard it.
Yes. Agreed. We don't want them to discard the plants. So.
I mean, discard the idea. of reading
Yes,
a
and
plant.
knowing that some things are going to die sometimes.
Right.
Gives you the opportunity to get something cooler and put in its place.
Yeah, and try to forget how much you paid for the Well, never a dull moment. I mean, gardening does sound really dull, doesn't it? But it's not dull at all.
No.
Diane, it dawned on me, have you all had anything to eat?
No. But I'm loving this every minute of it.
But this is feeding my soul.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
We could have
Yes.
done this and eaten at the same time. I can talk with a mouthful.
Oh, let's go eat
of it.
some. If you do find a new plant, please visit or want to know more, please visit plantbreedersolutions.com. It has everything about our trialing process and how to get in touch with us. And if you're looking for some fun next September, the International Plant Production Society is more focused to producers, but there are a lot of collectors that come. We'll be in Grand Rapids this year, and they will be visiting us, so it might be a great opportunity for you to come see the nursery. So, Jeff, I guess with that, take any questions. Or if we do questions.
Yeah, we do questions. That's no problem. We have a couple questions. One of them is we will get the videos posted on the ACS website. There's a spot where you can go and check out all our YouTube videos, or you go to YouTube and Google ACS, and you'll get to our site where we have all our videos. You definitely want to go back and check out Eleanor Fry's garden. She was a fabulous gardener in Chattanooga, and Judson had a great visit there. So it's a wonderful video.
I got lucky. Tom Cox had written an article about her, and at the bottom it had her email address. And I shot her an email. I'd just gotten vaccinated, and I was going to see my parents. And all of a sudden, she called me up one day, and we became best friends since then. So, and unfortunately, she passed a couple of years ago. But I've still got amazing plants in my garden, and we've got plants on trial from her. So, good memories.
Yes, that was awesome. She really enjoyed your visit. One of the things people were asking about is, does Proven Winners have a website where they list the people selling the plants, retail nurseries?
Yeah, we do. If you go to springmeadownursery.com or provenwinnerscolorchoice.com, it will have find a retailer. So you can, all of them are listed. We're very fortunate. Our licensees tell us who they're sending plants to, which is good.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's good to find. There's also a really good question about how AI is getting involved in everything. And people are wondering, are you guys using it in any way to help call out plants and
Yes.
development?
So we are to an extent, and I feel like we will more in the future. Some of our breeding partners are doing research on AI phenotyping, so you could just it looks at it and it goes through just like the sorting machine, and look for different characteristics that we want. We do use it a little bit in our data management. We use a program called Airtable. We used to use Excel and we'd have like 8 different spreadsheets, and it would take me and Megan 6 hours a piece each week to get ready for our evaluations. And now in Airtable, it takes us no time. And so that saved us a lot. So software improvements and AI, it's going to be the future.
That's really cool. Do you have a place or a good website where people can look for beneficial insects and stuff like that?
I don't know on the consumer level. We use a few different companies, Copert and BioBest. So if you can look for them, they might have a consumer facing front.
Cool. Yeah, beneficials are tough. I mean, they're great in the greenhouse, but they like
Exactly. When you get them outside, it's we've tried with so I didn't explain it, but that little rack that had all the plants on it, those are banker plants is what we call them. So they're plants that pests like. So like aphids love peppers, and so we have peppers growing in it. And the predators will go onto the plants, and then we can move them around the greenhouse. We also tried to do that outside with big pots. It wasn't very successful, but it was a good start.
Yes. People are wondering if the newer conifers are more resistant to some of the pests and diseases.
Always. So every plant in our catalog has to be improved, which I'm very fortunate that our owners believe that because it keeps me in a job. But we're always trying to improve on pest and disease resistance. So when we trial in many different locations, I try to find breeders where the pests are bad so that you can find plants that are naturally resistant. So if we get a disease that affects the US from China or Asia, then I'm going to China and Asia to try to find plants to bring over that have evolved to be resistant.
That's cool. I know John Reeder, especially is breeding for a lot of the tougher resistance and our wonderful Southeast diseases.
I
He's doing,
definitely don't miss the heat and pest pressure. That's for sure.
yeah, so you name it, we got it. So I think that's just about everybody's questions. And
Excellent.
just to remind everybody, right now we're working on getting the next issue of the Conifer Quarterly out. We're trying to get it to the printers by March 1st. So give us a couple weeks before we can, it'll be a couple weeks before we get all the videos up, but let everybody know that eventually it will be up. And thank you. We're looking forward to seeing everybody at the Portland meeting, I hope. Judson, if you and any of your interns want to go on a plant trip, we can talk about it a little bit later. We have some travel scholarships for the kids that are still in school, so
Excellent.
we'd like people to take advantage of that.
Certainly.
And
yeah, usually those students are broke and they appreciate it. I appreciated all the opportunities I had.
yes, someone was asking, oh, George has been working on our Facebook page a lot. I'm sure you run into George in your travels. He was wondering if you're going to be at the Woody Plant Symposium in 2027. George, that's a long way away.
I will definitely be there. I would not miss an ISHS Woody Plant Symposium.
Yeah,
And
cool.
sir, yeah, I was at Fort Collins. Actually, the Fort Collins meeting, I met my new assistant product development manager, David Tork. He was at the University of Minnesota as a researcher, and I heard him present, and I was like, man, you're great. And so I hung out with him for a couple of days, and he just started about a month ago.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's really cool.
Small world.
I hope to make it to some of the IPPS Southeast regional type things, but I always seem to be busy.
Yep, the IPPS, there's regions, Southern region, Eastern, and Western. So find one that's close to you and join.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Good seeing you again.
Thanks, guys.
We'll run into you.
No, of course.
Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thanks. You too.